Hello, welcome to News Review from BBC Learning English. I'm Tom. Joining me this week is Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hello, Tom, and hello, everybody. Yes, today's story is about travel restrictions that the UK government has recently brought into force.
Don't forget, if you want to test yourself on the language from today's episode, we have a quiz on bbclearningenglish.com. Now, let's take a listen to this BBC Radio 4 news report.
New controls on travellers entering the UK have come into force to try to keep out variants of coronavirus from other countries. Before setting off, people will be asked to produce evidence of a negative COVID test. Almost all those arriving will be required to spend time self-isolating, with fewer workers now exempt.
Yes, so the UK government is forbidding entry to the UK except if you have been able to provide evidence of a negative COVID test before you start your journey. They are doing this in an attempt to restrict the movement of new variants of coronavirus.
And we have 3 words and expressions we can use to talk about this story, right?
Yes, we have corridors, bid and axed.
Corridors, bid and axed. Let's take a look. Catherine, can we have your first headline, please?
Certainly, we are here in the UK for our first headline with Sky News. The headline, COVID-19. Everyone arriving in UK must now self-isolate as travel corridors close.
Corridors, narrow routes. Catherine, what can you tell us about corridors?
Corridors is a plural noun, Tom, and the spelling is C-O-R-R-I-D-O-R-S, corridors. Now,
Corridors, narrow routes. Now, I thought corridors were something in your house.
You're quite right. Most people have a corridor in their house or apartment. It is a narrow kind of hallway. It's just a space that leads to rooms. So usually long and narrow with lots of doors. Its only purpose is to take you from one part of your house to another part.
So it is another kind of narrow route, a literal one. What is a travel corridor, though?
Well, a travel corridor is also a route. In this case, a travel corridor at the moment is an agreement between two countries to allow travel between those countries. We have a lot of places we're not allowed to travel to at the moment because of coronavirus. But if two countries agree, yes, you can travel from our country to your country. That's known as a travel corridor. It's a narrow route between two countries.
So what the headline is saying is that these travel corridors, these narrow routes between countries, are going to close now, right?
Exactly that, yes.
Okay, so travel through travel corridors is restricted, but we are not restricted from traveling onto our next section. So let's have a look at that slide, please. Okay, we have another programme about travelling within certain boundaries, don't we?
Yes, this one's all about micro adventures, small adventures that you've always wanted to have, and you can find out more by just clicking the link.
Clicking the link. Perfect. Okay, Catherine, can we have a look at your second headline, please?
And we're still in the UK with The Sun. The headline, PM's bid to shut all travel corridors could be undermined by poor enforcement, shock figures show.
Bid. Attempt to achieve. Catherine, what can you tell us about bid?
Bid is a noun in this headline, although it can also be used as a verb. Spelling, whether it's a noun or a verb, is the same simple 3-letter word, B-I-D, bid.
So this bid belongs to the PM. What's a PM in the headline?
Oh yes, PM means Prime Minister. At the moment, the British Prime Minister is Boris Johnson.
So what's the article going to talk about from the headline?
Well, what we're talking about here in this article is the Prime Minister's attempt to close the travel corridors, and the headline saying that this might be quite difficult. So the use of the word bid is talking about an effort, an attempt, something he's trying to do.
So would we use this word bid as sort of a synonym for attempt in kind of normal day-to-day life?
Not so much. You wouldn't say, I'm going to make a bid to make a chicken curry tonight. You would say, I'm going to try
Or a
and
bid
make...
to go down the shops.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's used much more in kind of when we're talking about organisations, important individuals, kind of attempts to do major, important, significant things.
And I think it probably comes up in headlines a lot, as you say, because it's very short. There's only 3 letters.
One of those words that newspapers absolutely love.
Yeah. Are there any collocations or regular verbs that we use with this noun bid?
Well, you make a bid is a really strong way of saying it. You can make a bid to do something, or you can make a bid for something.
Kind of like make an effort to do something, right? Similar structure. And there's one of my favourite fixed expressions with bid.
Let's have it. What is it? You tell me.
To make a bid for freedom. Do you know this one?
Very much so. I do. Try to escape. If you try to escape, you make a bid for freedom. Yes, my cat made a bid for freedom the other day. She's not allowed out of the front door. She saw me open it and she escaped as fast as she could, but I caught her.
Yeah, and probably if you were in an airport in the UK last weekend, this one just finished, you would be making a bid for freedom. You'd be trying to escape the UK before the travel corridors closed.
Good example, yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's make a bid for freedom to get to our next section. So there are all different kinds of bids. Catherine, you've selected a video from the archive, right?
Yes, this one is about various countries making bids to host the upcoming Olympic Games, and you can find out more by clicking the link.
Catherine, can we have your third headline, please?
Yes, we're at the Independent, still in the UK. The headline, Travel Corridors Axed Completely in Latest Quarantine U-Turn.
Axed, cut or reduced without warning. What can you tell us about the word axed, Catherine?
Yes, axed, A-X-E-D. Lovely pronunciation. It's axed with axt at the end. Give us a go, Tom. See how good you are.
Axe, so the ED is a T, so it's axed.
Axed. That's a verb. The verb infinitive is A-X-E, axe. And axe is also a noun. It refers to a piece, a tool actually, that you can use for cutting things. Do you have an axe at home, Tom, at all?
I don't here, Catherine, though, because I live in the middle of London, so we don't really need an axe. But at home in the countryside, yeah, my dad has an axe, a tool for chopping wood. Normally.
Chopping wood, yeah. So it's a big, you get a sort of big long handle with a big sharp piece of metal at one end, and then you grab this handle and you swing the axe behind you and you bring it round really kind of aggressively. You hit a tree or a piece of wood with the metal at the end and it breaks into pieces. It's a very, very dramatic action. It's a strong, powerful tool, a weapon often. An axe can be a weapon. So this, to axe something, means to cut it dramatically. Not just trees. You probably don't axe a tree. You cut a tree down with an axe. But if you axe a service, or if you axe jobs, or in this case, if you axe a travel corridor, you stop it dramatically, or you reduce it greatly, and it has a big impact, and usually with very little warning.
That is an excellent explanation there, Catherine. I can hear you getting very sort of into the dramatic
I'm passionate
spirit
about
of axing
axes,
things.
Tom.
But yeah, if you look at the headline as well, if you look at the page, it's a black background, it's all capitals. This word axe really makes a statement, right?
It does, yes. And that's another reason why newspapers love it. It's a short word and it's a dramatic word. It's much better than cut or stop.
And do we have any sort of expressions or wider uses of axe?
Yes, we can say if you take an axe to something, you cut it, you stop it, violently, dramatically, without warning. So you could have said, that the UK government has taken an axe to travel corridors.
And we could use it for other figurative things as well, right? So we could say, hopefully they're not going to take an axe to news review or any of our programmes.
I hope not. I hope not. I'll have nothing to do on Mondays.
Hopefully we will be here with you for some time. Okay, thank you, Catherine. Let's get a look at that slide, please. Okay, Catherine, can you recap today's vocabulary, please?
Yes, we had corridors, narrow routes. We had bid, attempt to achieve, and we had axed, cut or reduced without warning.
Don't forget, if you want to test yourself on the language that we presented today, there is a quiz at bbclearningenglish.com, and of course we are all over social media as well. That's it from us for today, so goodbye.
Goodbye.
And see you next time.